Hey everybody, it's Coach Jax Jones with you again here today. Yesterday I promised that today's lesson is going to be on the three principles that every coach must have in their DNA to ever hope to win ball games, and especially to win big ball games. And that's the ability to score big innings, to set yourself up to score big innings. And on the flip side of the defensive side of the ball, you want to prevent the big inning, and we'll talk about that eventually too. But today we're talking about scoring big innings. What started the conversation was the video a couple days ago about Jose Guillen throwing out Nefi Perez of the Rockies and making the throw out at third base, which prevented the Rockies from having a big inning at all. And we've already talked about that, so we won't go over that again. But it's crucial as a coach to know what the big inning is, and it's crucial to know why you've got to have a big inning in order to give yourself the best chance of winning a game. So the big inning described is this. It's having 3 or more runs scored in one inning. So that's all it is. You want to score 3 or more runs in one inning. The old adage of get them on, get them over, and get them in doesn't work. That's one run a game, one running inning, one running inning, one running inning. Please, if I'm playing a team, please let them get their leadoff man on, bunt him over, sacrifice. I will take outs all day long. I will take outs all day long. Baseball doesn't have a clock. The outs shorten the game. I'll take them all day long. You can bunt. I'll give you one run all the time. Just right now. One run. I don't care who I'm playing. I'm going to beat you because I'm playing for the big inning, okay? So the first thing is the big inning is 3 runs or more. How can that happen? Several ways it can happen, right? Obviously hits, but it's not always hits. Typically, that's not the way it happens. Typically, it's a hit here or there, but it's a lot of other things. It's walks, it's hit by batters, it's a good strike zone discipline, it's taking an extra base on a hustle, it's reading balls in the dirt. So, like if you're in first or second base and you see the ball is going to hit the dirt when the pitcher throws it to the catcher, if a catcher goes to his knees to block the ball, run. He's not trying to catch the ball and throw you out because you're already on base. He's trying to block the ball to prevent you from advancing. So if you see the down angle of the ball that's going to hit the dirt, just go because he's not going to throw you out. He's not going to throw you at all because he's not even trying to catch the ball. He's just trying to block it. So that's a freebie. You can hit and run. You can put the ball in play with 2 strikes. Always, 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 if there's 2 outs, put the ball in play with 2 strikes and just make something happen. I'll have a whole video on that. That's a huge, 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 huge lesson that my teams learn early and works really well. And then you want to win what they call the freebie war. And freebies are what we talked about. Walks are freebies, hit by pitches are freebies. It's things that other teams gives you that you really didn't earn. They just gave it to you. Pass balls, wild pitches, balks. Stolen bases, that's kind of a freebie. Delayed steals, that's kind of a freebie. I mean, you took it. You took what they gave you. They didn't exactly give it to you outright, but you took. Maybe they didn't defend it properly, and you went and took advantage of it. So those are freebies. Now, here's the 3 rules of the big inning. First of all, we define it as it's got to be 3 or more runs in one inning. Now, the 3 big rules that you understand are: you want to have the big inning, and you want to have the big inning as early as possible. I like to have the big inning, if I can, within the first 3 innings of the game. If I can have a big inning in the first 3 innings of a game, I'm pretty much assured that I'm going to have another big inning later in the game because I've already got their starting pitcher throwing a lot of pitches in that first 3 innings. I'm going to have another big inning most of the time. Most coaches are. But I at least want to get a big inning in the first 6 innings of a game, or say the first 4 or 5 if you're playing high school or little league. But if you're playing 9 innings, the first 6 works as well. I've studied this, and there's several college teams that, especially in the ACC, as a matter of fact, all the teams, if they scored a big inning within the first 3 innings, they won over 90% of their games. If they didn't score a big inning at all in the game, they won less than 50% of their games. So that should show you how important it is. You want to score a big inning, which is 3 runs or more, taking freebies, and you want to score it as early as possible to give you a chance, to give your team a chance to even score more later. The second rule is if you have a big inning, the chances are huge, that your big inning can be 3 runs, right? But it could also be 3 or more, so it could be 7. It's a huge chance that the one big inning, if you just have just one big inning, there's a huge chance that one big inning is going to be more runs in that one inning than the other team scores in the whole game. So say you scored 7 runs in the 7th inning and then 3 throughout the rest of the game. So you scored 10 total, but 7 in one inning. Chances are the other team didn't even score 7 in the whole game. So offensively, you beat them in one inning. That's how important the big inning is. That's how important taking these freebies are. That's how important not giving up outs are. Do not bunt unless it's late in the game and you only need 1 run. We'll talk about that ad nauseum too. And if there's a caveat to that. Sometimes I'll see where a team will score a big inning, like say 7 runs in an inning, and the other team might score 7 runs in the whole game. So at the least, you may have not beaten them within 1 inning, but you tied them in 1 inning. So it took them 9 innings to score as many runs as you scored in 1. So at least you went to extra innings. But actually you didn't, because you scored extra runs in the other innings too. So you won the game anyway. But the point is, that one big inning won the game for you. Whether they scored exactly that same number or less in that inning, you still won with that one inning. And it's fun playing baseball, winning with the merry-go-round going around and around the bases in 1 inning, and you knowing from that point on you've got an excellent shot of winning the game, especially if it happened in the first 3 innings or 4 innings of the game, that you're going to have another big inning. And then the last rule is, if the first 2 rules don't apply, or even if the first 2 rules do apply, the team with the most big innings wins the games 99% of the time. So to recap, big inning is 3 or more runs. You want to play for 3 or more runs. It's not always hits. It's walks. It's taking extra bases. It's hustle. It's hit by pitches. It's pass balls. It's balks. It's stolen bases, delayed steals. It's going first to third. It's all kind of those little things, taking the freebies. The second rule is, along with the first rule, is if you score a lot of runs and you have a big inning, you want to have that as early as possible to give yourself a chance to have another big inning. The second rule is that if you score a big inning, chances are more likely than not that you're going to score more runs in 1 inning than the other team scored the whole game, which is a beautiful thing, to score more runs in the 5th inning than the other opponent scores in the whole game. You sleep really good at night as a coach. And your pitchers do too. And the last rule, to recap, is the team with the most big innings wins. So sometimes I'll see in games, and it's supposed to be high-scoring games, maybe one team has 1 big inning, but another team has 2 big innings. And usually the difference there is, I bet you can guess, the team that had the 2 big innings had 1 early and 1 later, but the team that had the 1 big inning, they had it later, and they didn't have a chance because they didn't have it earlier. So the team that had the earlier big inning, that begetted the second big inning. So that's all for this video. I'm going to cut it short here, and I'm going to make another video talking about the College World Series last year and the Major League World Series last year, and break down each game really quick and show you how it worked out and why it's so important in the biggest games, frankly, in college and in the major leagues. So see you in a minute.